Um, yeah, so again, Elnor's left behind. Picard tells him, I'm very proud of you. And Elnor's like, we may never see each other again. And Picard's like, oh, that's true of any two people saying goodbye. And I'm like, yeah, but it's still, you're dying. And what's going to happen in season 2 with Elnor? So our group arrives to Capella Station. We see there's a bunch of synths there. They're all twins. They're playing games. They're exercising. Did see a video that said that the twins that were doing what looked like a Tai Chi type of move, that was actually Klingon calisthenics. And if that's true, if you'll remember from Next Generation that Worf used to teach a class in Klingon calisthenics, and that this could be a nod to Data's time on the Enterprise, and of course his friends and the things that they did and all that. So they all recognize Soji right away, and they're like, "Welcome back." And one of the androids, her name is Arcana. She recognizes Picard as Data's captain. I did think it was very cute that she wanted to touch his wrinkles, like his bags under his eyes and his wrinkles. She said, "Oh, they're just lines, but they imply so much more, grief and endurance," which I thought was very childlike, right? Like when children explore their world and try to understand it, these synths had a very childlike wonder about them, which again speaks to how Data often was in the Next Generation. This is when, so then they're talking about Soji's mission that Maddox had taken her and Dodge for. She says, yes, she completed her mission, but the problem is now there's this Romulan fleet coming. They talk about the orchids that they use, those orchid ships, and they ask, how many do you have? Raffi says, please say 218, which I thought was very funny. And they say, well, we have 10, but we can make more. And Rios is like, well, you've got 2 days to make a lot more ships. And then this is when Brent Spiner comes in as Dr. Alton Inigo Soong. And again, from Michael Chabon talking about the character development. If you notice, his initials are AI, which is a very obvious nod to artificial intelligence. Brent Spiner suggested it, and Michael Chabon liked it so much he put it in the script.
Well,
so
it wouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be past Noonien Soong to do that, considering he had before,
right?
Yeah, there's that kind of thing.
Exactly. And of course, this introduction of this, it's another chance for Brent Spiner to play yet another Soong character, which we've often talked on this show about what a great character actor Brent Spiner is, and how he could take these different roles and just really make them his own. And another chance for him to do that here. Picard, of course, is like blown away, and he's like, I feel like I'm looking at Data. And he says, yeah, if Data got old and soft. And he describes himself as a mad scientist, which I'm sure we'll see a bit more of coming up in the next episode. And he says that he is Dr. Noonien Soong's organic child, but that Data was created. And so he's obviously aware of Data. He's aware of the work his father did, because he's doing the same type of work. But they're just introducing this new person in the Soong family tree here. So what did you all think about his introduction as Dr. Soong's biological son?
I did a squealy thing because, Brent Spiner. I had small problems with it because, convenience. But I had problems with the pacing of this episode anyway because convenience. I like that Brent Spiner gets to be a bit more campy and a bit more mad because it suits him well. And it was a nice nod to the fans. But I would have... I don't know. I think I might have been happier if he wasn't organic. I think I would have been happier if he was created. If he turned out to be like, I can't even think of something witty and clever, because all I have in my head right now is B4, because it wouldn't be witty and clever, it would be something stupid. It would be something dumb and obvious, but something like after.
Later.
Yeah, with an 8 in there, right? LAT8R.
Yeah. But it's very convenient that he had a son that nobody knew about, that just so happened to also be a mad scientist who was capable of this.
Well, to be honest, I'm sorry, Brooke. Did you have some thoughts on this topic?
Oh, I did, but I was just sort of laughing anyway. But okay, so he shows up, and I'm like, he's young, he's not Noonien. Did he make himself a body? Is this what's going to happen? And then he says that he's his son, and basically, and I'm like, I think there's going to be a lot of nerds who are mad about this. And that's kind of what, because anybody who's listened to this knows that I have not been this into Star Trek any other time in my life. So it's not like, for me, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, sure, hey, let's do this. Most of the time. But I don't know. Yeah, it was cool. Brent Spiner got to come back. He didn't have to be painted or wear like prosthetics or anything. We left that to Isa Briones to have the Data paint on her.
Right.
The contacts or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It was kind of interesting, and I wondered if they were going to slip in there how come no one knew who he was.
Right.
Also, when Data's mom showed up, wasn't she an android too at that point?
Yes. Yeah, Dr. Soong had created an android body for her because he couldn't live with he didn't want to watch her die, so he basically put her into an android body, her mind.
Okay, I was just making sure I didn't make that up, because that's kind of what I thought he had done for himself here, and just made himself younger or whatever. But yeah, and then he said who he was, so I was like, all right, that's cool, whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of would forgive it a bit more if they explained it a bit more. Kind of like if they'd have been more aware of who he is. Like if Raffi or Jean-Luc Picard or somebody had been like, oh, you're his son, rather than him explaining that he was his son.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they had some sort of awareness of his work before or something. You know what I mean? If it had gone the other way around, I don't know. I am a nerd that was annoyed.
Agnes should have known. If he, she should have known something. I feel
the guy who was supposed to be the love of her life disappeared off with him.
Yeah.
Years on end. So they must have been aware of him at some sort of context.
But did she know that Bruce was with him? She just
But she won't have known that. She maybe didn't know that he was with him, but they must have had some prior knowledge of him for Bruce to have gone with him in the first place, other than him basically wearing Data's face.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because it's not like he didn't just show up and be like, hey, Bruce, I got something for you. Let's go. And then Bruce is like, who are you? You look like Data.
Yeah.
I'll go with you anyway.
I feel like I feel like with this episode, what we're getting I think what is annoying me, and what might be annoying you, Faye, is that we've had a lot of stuff happen in this series where it's like just trust us that this is how it happened. Like, we're just telling. So it's like, oh, Bruce Maddox had a neuron from Data. How? That's not important. He just had it. Trust us on this one. Okay. And then it's like, oh, Noonien Soong had a kid. But wait, when? Doesn't matter. Just trust us on this one. And I feel like they've kind of used that maybe one too many times for me. Yeah. So I'm sort of like, all right, guys, how many times are you going to say, oh, this totally happened, you just didn't know about it? Just, because it's in the plot.
Guys, it's a big universe. You can't know everything.
But they've been so careful up until the last couple of episodes to sort of explain it away of, right, well, you haven't been in this universe for a while, so this stuff has happened because it's part of history, so you just haven't been part of it, but this has happened and it's okay, you've missed it, but it's all right. In this context, this is what you need to know. Right, okay, move on. But things like this, well, actually, it's not just historical context, it's established universe. So we're adding stuff in that's not just random stuff. It's stuff that should have already pre-existed in our nerdy knowledge. Like, we would know if soon... They should have already pre-established in the universe that Soong had a son. Or like, a simple way of establishing it would have been to mention it earlier instead of, oh, it's a MacGuffin. This will help us. This will help us accelerate the plot because, oh shit, we've only got an episode and a half left, and we need to get to a certain place by the end of the next episode.
Yeah, that's Faye, you expressed it so well of them going back into what we should already know as established canon and tweaking and changing things. And now here we are with one episode left, and I feel like last week they did a lot with that episode. Like they did, in my opinion, a little too much or tried to do too much. And now here I feel like we're rushing to an end. And it's like, again, it's not like it's not like it's making me hate the show or anything.
Yeah.
But these are things that annoy the nerd in me of like, what's going on with this? I wish he had not been an organic kid. I wish he was already a synth. I wish he was. I think that would have worked better for me. I think that would have been more believable, more acceptable than to say, oh, by the way, he totally had this kid the whole time, except nobody ever mentioned him.
Yeah.
What if Shambun's saying that it's like subterfuge? Like, he thinks that he's organic, but he's not really organic either.
Oh, so kind of pulling
because how all of the how like Soji didn't know that she was
right until she was activated, like Jason Bourne style, right?
Spoilers for Westworld, just to say, even though I haven't watched the new season yet. Like some of them didn't know, and they were that kind of thing. So anyway. Okay, you can go back to listening if you've not watched it in the last 2 seasons. No, I'm kidding.
But I guess we could have a situation where he doesn't know that he's a synth, but I just don't know what the point would be for him to be living on a planet of synths and him thinking he's organic. What's the point? Everybody is a synth. Like, it made sense for Saj and Doji. I totally crossed their names.
Whatever.
Daj and Soji. It made sense for them to not know because they had to keep a secret, and they were living in a world of organic beings that had like an undercover mission. So I don't know. I just don't know if that's. I just don't know if that makes sense. But anyway, so all right. There's our little nerd complaint for the episode. Maybe we'll have more. I don't know. So then we have a scene of Soji kind of catching Dr. Soong up with what happened. She says it's my fault that the Romulans are here. And then he says, well, it's not your fault because you can't be expected to keep a secret that you didn't know you had, which is a fair point. She didn't know she had to keep this secret because she didn't know she even had the secret. And he says, the ban on synths, it made Bruce Maddox very deceptive and leading him to his plot of creating Daj and Soji.